Welcome into the Cam and Strick podcast, episode number 8. Cam Jansen here. I'm Andy Strickland. We're at the Normal brand once again here in the heart of Ladue. We love coming here each and every week and doing this podcast. This is a special one on this edition of the Cam and Strick podcast, Cam.
Andy McDonald, my former teammate, God, is he hilarious. Very quiet guy, very reserved, stoic, I would say a little bit. But he's a great guy once you get to know him. And he might be a little reserved here and there, but gosh almighty, he's just a good dude. And he can still play hockey, and he still looks the damn same, and actually pisses me off because he doesn't age.
Yeah, great player. He doesn't age. Great career. I mean, boy, could he skate. And you know, a Stanley Cup champion, too. Right. And don't underestimate how good he was here in a Blues uniform. Absolutely. He was really good. If you need a reminder, check out YouTube. After you go to this Cam and Strick podcast on YouTube, you can check out Andy McDonald's highlights because he was really, really good. And enjoy this conversation. So have a listen. Enjoy it here on the Cam and Strick podcast.
Well, we found Andy McDonald. He was digging through the trash looking for clothes in the back. And we're like, hey, Andy, you want to come in the store and actually buy something? He's like, yeah. So we have him in. And now we're going to do a podcast.
Andy McDonald, the most unassuming former Blues player ever. Like, he sits in the stands. He buys his own tickets. I mean, sometimes you can't even, like, people say, wow, Andy McDonald still lives in St. Louis? You'll be hearing more and more from Andy McDonald, one of the top youth hockey coaches in the area, the second best probably behind me. And
you're so stupid. You're so stupid. You're so stupid.
No, doing great stuff for the local hockey community and giving back, and that's all that matters. And he's still here in St. Louis, and he joins us here at the Normal brand.
What's up, Andy?
Andy Mac?
Hey, boys. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Glad to be here.
Welcome into the show. How's life?
Well, when I'm not out back looking for clothes, it's pretty good.
I was joking. Andy's been trying on every single pair of clothes in here, annoying everybody. He's probably got some stuff in his purse that he brought in here too. He's probably to take it out. But this place is real cool, Andy. I know you live right down the road, and we've been skating together. It's good to see you again. Of course, we played together for a couple years and with the Blues. And
were you guys in the same line or power play? Or
well, I got stuck out there when I got a penalty. I'd come out and Andy'd be out there, and he'd be like, "Get the fuck off my line!" I'm like, "Okay, see you later." That's when Andy Murray was yelling at me to get off the ice. But no, we were teammates for a long time, and it was fun. You know what? We had a fucking fun team.
We did.
We had a fun team.
Maybe too much fun.
I know. Could you imagine? Like, think about it now. Like, Andy, if you think about it, the Blues have changed. When Doug Armstrong came in, before that, Larry Plow was there, and we kind of did what we wanted. Really, I mean, you had Keith Tkachuk, you had Paul Kariya, yourself, Eric Brewer. It was a different animal back then, but we had an absolute blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think it was just a different culture.
Yeah.
Now it seems a little bit younger team. And, we had, I think, some older guys had been around with Paulie and Walt and...
those two together.
Yeah. Just listen to them all day long.
Paulie and Walt.
So funny.
Cross the line, maybe?
Oh. Andy, remember when... So Andy Murray would... There's so many Andys, I'm getting confused.
I don't know who you're talking about. You're looking at me.
He doesn't know either, by the way.
We got Strick, we got Andy Mack, and we got Andy Murray.
This is the only time that Cam will do a show and actually get his guest name right.
Like, holy shit. Okay? So, anyway, Andy Murray, it was so funny. I remember a couple times, Andy Mack, that we'd have a shitty game, and Andy Murray would come in and be like, we're practicing tomorrow, and da-da-da. Keith Tkachuk would get up and be like, that's it. Paul, get your fucking ass over here. Let's get in this room right now. They both prance and trot back into Andy Murray's room, and they walk out 5 minutes later. Yep, no practice tomorrow. That's how that worked. But those two had such a cool connection together. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't pick two more opposite guys, but they got along great. And, we learned a lot along the way with them. And, with Walt and Paulie. And it's we were pretty fortunate to have them at that team.
Paul Kariya. First of all, he was kind of intimidating. I mean, not even intimidating, but obviously he was a big-name star player when he came to St. Louis. And I didn't know Paul Kariya at all. You obviously had a relationship with him going back to Anaheim. And to this day, he's one of my favorite players that I've ever covered. Just an unbelievable person. Why did you two hit it off so well?
Yeah, I think he is intimidating. I remember my first training camp. He just, walking in, I was in Anaheim 2000, and there's Paul Kariya, and he just blew right by me in the hallway and didn't say a word. And I think at that point I was like, oh boy, yeah, Paulie's a little bit intimidating. But, once you got to know him, he was great. And he's always good with the young guys, teaching them a lot of different things. And he just, I think he kind of recognized my situation coming out of college, and I was a smaller player. So maybe he saw a little bit of himself when he was younger, and he was able to help me a lot, especially early in my career.
Was the player we saw in St. Louis anything close to what he was in his prime, when he was an absolute superstar in the league?
I'll answer that for you. No. But go ahead and answer.
But he had his moments too, though. I mean, his first year, I think he put up close to 80 points.
He had a slap shot
like
still.
Yeah, I mean, he's an exceptional player. He, for whatever reason, maybe it's concussions. It just changes as you get older, and he did so many great things at Anaheim, and seeing him in his peak of his career. I saw him, in that game against the Jersey when he got knocked out by Stevens. Seen him come back out on the ice and
Were you
scoring.
on the team? Were you playing that game?
I was out injured and watching it in the stands.
You had a concussion problem.
I had a concussion,
Pay for your tickets to that game too? Or
Get out of here with that stupid question.
I've never heard a building so loud as when he scored that goal.
Oh my God!
What about when he came back on the bench? Did fans know that he came back?
I'm not sure. They had him on the jumbotron.
No,
I think,
they did.
Originally.
I remember seeing a clip of that. No, they all went crazy.
It was nuts. The building was nuts.
One of the best moments in Stanley Cup final history ever was just an incredible moment.
He was buckled. And if you watch any top 10 hits by Scotty Stevens, of course I went to training camp and it was most intimidating. He's the one guy I didn't want to hit. He's the one guy in training camp I didn't want to go near because I knew if he wanted to catch me, even I never had the puck, but even if I had it for a second, he'd end me if he wanted to. Not beat me up in a fight, but hit me with a hit, and that's the scariest thing because you can't avoid that. So when that hit happened, Paulie was out, and all of a sudden he started breathing, and his face mask came up. And we're like, these days he'd be gone for 2 weeks.
God. Could you imagine?
He'd be gone for 2 weeks.
He would never come back in the game.
He came back and had a slap shot from the left side there and went top shelf on Marty, and they won that game, and then went to game 7, right? Was that game 6, I believe it was?
Yeah, that was game 6 in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But I know this is kind of a personal issue for you just in terms of some of the stuff that you went through. And so you have a real strong opinion of it. I mean, are you happy with the way the game has trended away from some of that stuff? Maybe trying to eliminate a lot of the head hits. I know they're still there. But how many points would Andy McDonald put up in today's game?
Jesus Christ.
Well, I like watching physical hockey. I mean, it's the hits are exciting, and it's just unfortunate, with the head injuries now and how that's subtracted from a little bit of the contact that's out there now. You don't want to see guys getting hurt like that, and certainly with your head, it's not just something that heals over a couple months. You're living with lifetime injuries, so. It's good to see it kind of get pushed out of the game a little bit, and now it's more of a focus on speed and skill. The injuries are still there, but they've definitely gone down with the way the game's headed.
Yeah, but the speed is the speed still affects that physicality. I mean, the game gets faster and faster and faster. The hits are more aggressive, even when they let me give you an example. A back check hit 10 years ago where you can back check and all of a sudden it cuts to the middle and you catch them cutting to the middle. Like, that was allowed back then. Guys were getting knocked out all the time. Now if you catch somebody and they spin like that, you're gone for 10 games, man. So I get that aspect of it. But the speed of the game now is so damn fast. And even if you catch somebody, Nick Foligno just did it the other day, where he just tried to step up.
Suspended a couple games.
He got 3 games for that. But the speed of the game still affects these hits, Andy?
Well, the
good Andy?
The game, I mean, the size of the rink has not changed, and the game has obviously gotten a lot faster. So guys are going around the same size of surface, and incidental or not, they're crashing into each other. And, is it time to make the rink a little bit bigger? I don't know, but you definitely a lot faster, and even just accidental contact and stuff like that. At the end, you've seen a lot more injuries.
But here's the difference. When you played, you didn't cut across the middle. Or if you did, your head was up and you knew somebody may be coming to absolutely take your head off.
Back check, baby.
Now guys cut across the middle. They don't expect to get hit.
You think? Do you think it's the game's gone to that?
Oh, yeah.
I see it.
They cut across it. They don't expect to get hit when they cut across the
because
middle.
I'm watching the game. I'm like, oh, my God, here comes a big hit. No, he laid off. No, he laid off because he wants to stay in the damn game. Yeah. Even if you clip a guy, you're fucking
We're
gone.
seeing it with quarterbacks now in the NFL.
You're gone.
Yeah.
Gone. How do you feel now, though, Andy? Like, you okay? I know you're skating. We're both skating together. And it's funny.
It's not just you, by the way. Cam asks every guest, how's your head?
Bullshit, because I'm fucked up, and I want to know if he is. Here's the deal. Andy's skating, and we have an awesome alumni here in St. Louis, of course, and I haven't seen you in a while, and of course we were teammates, and I got a funny story I'm going to tell whether you like it or not. It was fucking hilarious. I'm going to bring it. But now you're skating with us with the alumni, and we have this brand new facility in Maryland Heights. We're all getting together. You go out to lunch afterwards. How cool is that to be able to come back, hang out with all of us, score 6 goals because I set you up 6 times.
This is more dramatic than Kariya's.
No, I'm asking him a fucking question. Is it nice to hang out with all the boys again with this nice ass facility in St. Louis?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. When I retired, I got completely away from the game. I think my only attachment to the game was coaching my son and being around that part, but I really didn't have any association with the Blues or the alumni, and I just needed a break. And I'm glad to be back skating. I mean, it's time flies. I mean, I retired in 2013. We're 6 years later, and I'm now only starting to skate regular, but it's a lot of fun.
God, you're still good, though.
You don't realize how much you miss it until you get back out there, and the guys that you're doing with, the alumni and the other guys that are out there, it's fun. And we get to do that a couple times a week and try and stay in shape, I guess, Chance.
Keep that stick on the ice, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll find you. And if I don't find Peter Stasny, he's going to give me that fucking look. I'm like depressed for 3 days.
Listen, I'm really happy to hear that because, I mean, you and I talked a lot when you first retired or just prior to you retiring, and you did completely remove yourself, and I felt, at least on the outside, that you needed that time away, and maybe you weren't exactly ecstatic with the way you went out of the game. I'll let you answer that. I mean, was there a bitterness for you in terms of how your career ended and you walking away from the game?
I think I was more, impacted just by the concussions and, thinking about what that has done where I was at that point. Mm-hmm. I think I got to the point where I was just like, why did I stay so long? Why did I play so long? Should I have stopped earlier? And you start questioning your decisions. But, I think time away helps. And, you get to spend more time with your family and kind of puts things in perspective. And, now I'm kind of at the grassroots level with the game and seeing the kids enjoy the game. And that's really kind of brought the enjoyment back to it. I think the injuries just came too much, and the concussion part of it, it really made things tough towards the end of my career.
So tell us a little about I've been through concussions, not that severe. Like, it's surprising. I've gotten hit in the head tons of times.
He swallowed his tongue. He swallowed his tongue.
Like the one where I'm like
Brad Winchester.
I was fucked up. Okay, I remember a couple times driving home.
It's not a laughing matter.
Dead sober, getting out of the game, and I get cars packed with people. And I drive, 7 miles, all of a sudden I start spinning because Colton Orr hit me in the back of the head so fucking hard that night. And I start spinning, I puke all over everybody in my vehicle. And they pull over and all the girls are going crazy. Like I freaked everybody out. I'm puking over the goddamn place like a nut bag. And the next day I was fine. And I was okay with my head injury. I brought a lot of stuff on myself. But how was it for you at your dark days? And I sorry to bring this back up, but it is somewhat interesting. No, I'm serious. How was it? Like, would you have to pull the fucking blinds down? And were you just like curled up like you have the flu and you couldn't have light? You couldn't watch TV? Like, how bad was it, Andy?
Everybody has different symptoms.
Yeah.
For me, it was really like a dizziness or a fogginess. You described of just not feeling yourself. And
depressed.
And it just doesn't heal like other stuff. It's not linear. I think you're up and you're down and you seem to get worse before you get better. And I think, putting the pressure on yourself to return and not knowing, you break your leg or you pull something, they go, okay, you're out 4 to 6. And with that, you're like, they tell you, okay, go home and rest. Sleep a lot, take care of yourself, but there's no timeline, and that was a tough part. And then you're reading and you're hearing, okay, you've had X amount of concussions. How are you going to be 4 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And that's in the back of your mind, so it kind of weighs on you. And you've got to consider those things returning to play. Are you 100%? And there's not a lot of information out there. There's more now.
Big time.
There's a lot of gray, I think, in terms of the information you were getting, and they just didn't know. So.
Well, did you like one day wake up and you're like, oh, I feel okay, or were you like, was it like a gradual thing? Like, how'd that go down? When did you wake up after the bad point of your concussion? You're saying, oh, I woke up, well, I'm okay. I can walk outside now and not be dizzy. I think
the biggest thing for me is just sleep. Like I really didn't realize that I wasn't sleeping well until you sleep well. Like I think that I used to sleep and I would sleep maybe an hour, wake up, an hour, wake up, an hour, wake up, and now I sleep through the night and I'm rested. And so I feel like sleep's a big part of it and what the injury does to you and how it disrupts that. But until I was actually like sleeping through the night, I didn't start to feel, I guess, myself again. And then I think it probably took me a couple of years after retiring, after playing, to get to that really? Point. Yeah. And it just became the norm for so long. Like I said, I didn't know that I wasn't sleeping well, and then worked on that part, and all of a sudden, like, oh, you know what?
Did you take pills to sleep?
When I was playing, I did.
Oh, I know. I remember them.
Did you borrow them from Cam?
I'm not the distributor.
So knock on Cam's hotel room door.
Ambient party.
Hey, but I don't think the common person or the fan, they can't relate to that because, number one, they don't go through it. But, I mean, you played hockey your entire life. You obviously were successful. You won a Stanley Cup in Anaheim. Read his Wikipedia page, Cam.
I did, motherfucker. Didn't know that. Yeah, okay. I did. Thank you.
But they don't understand how you could just lose that connection with the game or maybe not love the game as much as you did, at an earlier age. Explain what that's like and how it can come to that point, Andy.
Well, you just get focused on the wrong things, right? And instead of playing the game, you're focused on how do I avoid the next check. And like I said, you're weighing what happens when I get another concussion, how many have I had, and you don't know how that's going to affect you down the road in your future. So you just get focused on the wrong thing. And when you're young, you think, hey, you're going to play this game forever. You're out there just enjoying the game itself. And then the concussion part, like I said, there wasn't a lot of information. It's progressed, but there's a lot of unknowns, and you just don't know. So it's hard to make those decisions at the time.
What would you tell current players who are going through that now? And on the outside looking in and observing where the game is today, are you satisfied? Do you think we're trending in the right direction to help those that have head injuries? What do you think should be done if you feel like there needs to be more? What do you think should be done?
That's a loaded question.
Very loaded question. Stupid ass. Why are you asking loaded fucking questions? You're giving him a concussion.
What was the first part?
Good God. Fucking relapse. Go ahead and answer it, Andy.
No, but what do you think that needs to be done? You lived it, as a player, Well,
it's definitely improved. I mean, they've taken more precautions. I think just returning to play, I think I was in the generation of you got your bell rung, go back out there and play. And I think now they've identified, okay, that's a head injury and you can't return to play, or but I always, I'm in the framework now that you should just be out longer, take more time to recover and make sure you're 100% before you go back.
Well, the reason why I asked that is because guys like Gronk, the tight end from the New England Patriots,
Andy, I know. Why are you looking at me like I don't know who he is?
I figured maybe you didn't know who he was. Andrew Luck, the quarterback who walks away,
Yeah.
And they try to explain it to the common person, but the common person just can't understand. To them, he's their fantasy football player. He's the guy who's just living the life. But rehabbing and recovering from injury, I don't care how much money you're making. It's not fun, is it?
I think it comes with the territory a little bit. I think for me, early in my career, I just weighed what the acute symptoms were at the time. Okay, I've got a headache or I feel dizzy. I wasn't going, okay, how am I going to be when I'm 35? So that part, I think, is just education with the players and making sure they understand, you're not just dealing with a sore ankle when you get older, you got to think big picture, and it's going to affect you day to day.
How good was he, Cam?
Can I ask a positive question?
Yeah.
Can I ask a positive question?
I mean, I don't know where you're taking this interview. You're making me so depressed by where you're going.
We're asking depressing questions. Let me ask a positive question.
We apologize for bringing you in here.
Sorry, no, it's a big deal.
For this conversation.
What did you
thought he was past it.
I know. He's like, get me out of here. What did you do with the Stanley Cup? Now, that 2007 you won it with Anaheim. That damn team was so badass.
Oh
they changed hockey in a bit. Yeah. Like, they were big and they were rugged, they were tough. You had Peros, you had Thornton, you had Brad May, you had tough guys on that damn team. You had Prongs on that team. Of course, you had Kariya, you had yourself and Niedermeyer, Solani, both Niedermeyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scotty, yeah. You had both like, that was an unbelievable team. How tell us through that playoff run a little bit and what you did with the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, an exceptional team, and
holy shit,
just really deep. And I think you look at the teams that have success in the postseason, like the Blues did, and they had 4 lines that we could play. And that team, I mean, you could put any line out. I mean, I remember sitting there in the playoffs, 4 or 5 minutes into the game, and our line hadn't had a shift, and that was Chris Kunitz, myself, and Solani. And because, they were...
Those 2 of the best undrafted players in the history of the National Hockey League, by the way, Andy Mack and Chris Kunitz.
Holy shit.
College guys.
And I really, the toughest opponent we had, I think, was in the 3rd round against the Wings. The Stanley Cup was against Ottawa. I think we won in 5. Going through it, you don't realize how good the team is, or what you're going through. You're just like, hey, this is just another year playing hockey.
You didn't know that was a great team?
Well, I think off the start I forget how many games we won in a row. We went through some adversity where we struggled late in the season, but you just think that that's going to be like this every year. And
the other teams are just as good, kind of.
Yeah, okay. We did have, like you talked about, we had toughness, we had skill, leadership, we had a great defense core, great goaltending. So it was, you just feel extremely fortunate to be part of that. I always tell the kids now I coach, I won 2 championships in my whole career. One when I was, I think, minor squirt or major squirt, and then one.
I remember that one. That was fantastic, man. That was awesome.
No, fucking great. It's right up there.
No championships at Colgate.
No. I just, it's just so hard to win, and so I feel extremely fortunate to be part of that team and that group.
Scott Niedermeyer. I mean, best defenseman you've ever seen, you've ever played with or against, or is there somebody?
Remember, Pronger was on that team.
Yeah, I know, but different. I mean, is there a better player than Scott Niedermeyer?
Yeah, I mean, we had, like you said, we had 2 guys, Prongs and Needs, and we always had
40 minutes a night.
Always had one of those guys on the ice. Yeah. Think about that. And Needs is you just describe his play as effortless. I mean, he would just glide around the ice, and he was able to do so much because of skating. It's a lot better to play on the same team to play against Scotty, and same with Prongs for that matter.
What was it like to practice with Prongs?
I was gonna say, how was Prongs in the locker room?
Prongs was great. He was really good with me, and I think they balanced each other really well. Scotty was really quiet in the room. Prongs is a little bit more outspoken.
That's weird.
But yeah, we had a really good mix. Brad May was in that room, and it just takes a lot of the right pieces. And hats off to the general manager Brian Berkey at the time.
Oh, he'll tell you he did a good job.
Also,
he'll tell you that.
Brian Murray, who drafted a lot of those players, who replaced or got replaced by Berkey. So they did a great job of putting that team together.
Berkey's an unreal guy, and I've really gotten to know him better the last couple of years. And he just did my radio show a few weeks ago, and I reminded him about...
You got a radio show? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
It's weird.
No TV?
A little TV show. But I reminded him about the trade of Dougie Waite going to Anaheim, because I'll never forget Dougie Waite calling me to tell me that he was going to Anaheim. I knew that they had asked him to waive his no-move clause or no-trade clause, and he said no. Then they brought him back, and he was not happy about it. So basically forced him to waive his no-trade. And I called Pronger, and I said, listen, there's a deal that's going down. He goes, for who? And I said, Doug Waite's going to Anaheim. Andy McDonald is coming to St. Louis. Good one, and hung up the phone. He called me back like 10 minutes later, and he said, you're right. this is happening. I said, I know it's happening. I just called you to tell you that it was happening. But when I brought it up to Brian Burke the other day, he's like, yeah, thanks for the reminder, Strick. He goes, I don't need to hear about that one, because Dougie Way was obviously towards the end of his career, but they had to do it because of salary cap purposes, right? Who was coming back? Was it Niedermeyer who was coming back?
We had both Solani and Niedermeyer were, I guess, resting at that point and deciding if they were going to resting. Deciding if they were going to come back and play. And then I think, Berkey had come in the room and said Scotty had given, the word that he was coming back, and we were struggling at that point, and he was just like, we gotta make room. This is our captain, and one of you will be gone, or a couple of you will be gone. And of course, that's when the rumors started, and at the time, I didn't hear my name in the mix, and that probably should have been a red flag that it was coming. But it was always about the defense, that somebody in the back end was going to move. So it was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't playing well, so it shouldn't have been a surprise. But you just get comfortable being in the same place, and it was good. Honestly, I was happy I got traded to St. Louis.
Were you at the time?
Not at the time, but
Remember the first night you got
Anaheim's
here?
really shitty, by the way. It's terrible weather. Like, come on.
Remember this guy was so nice. The first night that he, the first day he came to St. Louis, I asked him to come to my radio show.
At Johnny Mac's?
No, it was at Pujols 5 restaurant. It was before Johnny Mac's. Yeah. And it's in the middle of Westport Plaza. Now, it's hard enough to find your way around Westport Plaza as it is, especially for a guy who just moved to St. Louis.
You just pounced on me. I had
no
idea.
That's
What
he does.
Just pounced.
He was waiting a baggage claim.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
He's like calling, like, where is this place? Whatever, but that's the type of guy that he was. He came out there and did it right away, and you had a great run here in St. Louis. So, how long did it take you to become comfortable with a new team and feel like this is a good home for you?
Oh, right away. Just apprehensive coming to a new team, new coach, new players. I think I knew Paulie and Jay McKee.
Jay McKee.
Cheese.
Oh, my God.
He picked you up in a semi-truck or no?
Oh, fuck, was he fun.
So he was on the team, on the Squirt team, Jance, that we won the championship.
I know. I watched the whole thing. I got the DVD at my house. Jay McKee. I told you I woke up in L.A. on a beach with him in our suits. We're like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, the fucking bus is leaving. It's 5 a.m. The sun's coming up. Like, what are we doing together on the beach in our suit?
We had your suits on.
We made it back, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
We made it back, by the way. It's the weirdest
That's not
thing
the story
in the world.
he tells.
I don't know what we did that night before, but it was romantic nonetheless.
So those guys were
nice
here
beach.
Already when you got here? They weren't here yet, were they?
Yeah.
Paul was here too?
Yeah, I remember Paul was, one of the first guys that called me when I got traded, and then again, like Cheese, I hadn't seen Cheese in years, and he picked me up at the airport.
How'd you know him?
So we were D partners when we were Squirts.
Really?
He played D, man. He played D.
Yeah.
I listen. Yeah. Read his Wikipedia, and you'll know this.
Is that on there?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's not on there.
It's all positive. Yeah.
It's all positive.
It's all positive.
So
You're lucky you got a positive Wikipedia.
So you played defense.
Should I read your Wikipedia?
Fuck no.
So that explains why you
fucked
never
up
got.
once.
That explains why you never got drafted. You got overlooked. You were playing defense.
Play fucking D.
Yeah, I started as defenseman, and it was too small, and moved up to forward.
Would have never thought
about
that.
that was about that. Hey, Paul, I got to tell the story about you, but I'm going to wait one more second. But Paul Kariya, he was so nice. Didn't drink, didn't do anything.
Really?
But he was so nice.
Wouldn't even have a beer?
No, unless...
He did early. I've
Really?
been with him when he's had a drink. Yeah.
The only time he had a drink that I saw is when when he thought that he was drinking cranberry juice, and Walt would put vodka in there. All right, that's all I'm going to say.
That never happened.
that never ever happened. But I will say,
How long would it take him to realize it?
he didn't realize it, dude. Like he just didn't realize it. Like he just didn't realize it.
That's
Anyway, but Paulie was such a sweetheart. Like he really, like he was. That's what I say. That to people. He was a sweetheart. He was nice to me. He didn't have to be nice to me, but he was nice to me. But his pre-game routine, his pre-workout routine, was so outrageous. He would have poor Ray Halley was one of our trainers. Paul would torture this guy. Not torture because he was nice, but Ray Howley had his own separate bag for Paul Kariya.
By the way, Ray Howley.
Ray Howley, awesome dude. He had Paul Kariya's thing on his own bag, personal bag. He'd have all these bands. And Paul would walk around the locker room with these bands and be like this. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? He looked like he'd have all bands all around him and just do this. And I'm like, is this a joke? Is he trying to be funny? No, that's what he did. Every single game, he had his routine. And Andy, it worked.
Yeah, I mean, he
was out of his mind.
Extraordinary athlete in preparation.
Tips, it worked.
I do like.
It worked.
I like.
Write that down.
The band imitation was great.
What was it like, having Cam as a teammate?
Cam was great. Provided a lot of humor in the room. Provided toughness. Oh yeah.
You remember when he ran over Carey Price in Montreal?
That was awesome.
One of the greatest moments in Blues history, for sure.
I will say this though, Andy. We one of the funniest damn things. I laugh at this still, and it's. Mike Weaver was
great. Mike Weaver.
Mike Weaver.
We were roommates.
I know. I know. You two were roommates. You both had like 600 games and you're still roommates, which is the stupidest fucking thing in the world. Well, I guess just how the NHL was back then, where you had a roommate when you're making $5 million bucks,
building like refurbished laptops.
He was such a nerd. So these guys
I couldn't figure out. They only gave us one bed. I was.
Are you serious?
No. Oh God! Get out of here, you idiot! God. So these guys are roommates, and they're complete opposite. Reeves was loud in the locker room. Andy was just quiet, kept to himself for the most part. And I remember at the end of the year, we had a party at Johnny's. We always have a party at the end of the year. And these guys were roommates all year long, and they got along all year long. But you could tell there's a built-up tension between these two, because anytime you're with somebody for that long, it just builds up.
I've heard the story.
It builds up.
Every single hotel we went into on the road, he would race to the room, completely undressed, and hide naked in the closet. Every time.
Can you imagine? You know what that shit?
You know what that does to you?
It fucking ages you. So at the end of the year, these guys probably fucking like either you love each other, but you still like you're sick of each other. So we're at Johnny's, and also we're all hanging at the year-end party. That's what we're doing. We're just having fun, just doing our thing. All of a sudden, we hear like a little tussle going on. Mike Weaver and Andy McDonald trading punches, wrestling
like
around.
Throwing real.
No, like you're fucking want to kill each other. They both ripped their shirts off. They're both jacked, cut to the T. Like everybody, all the servers were like, "Oh my word!" Like it was like the sexiest thing in the world for everybody.
It was an arm wrestling match, Jess.
They were choking each other out by the end of the night. It was a fun. Like
why?
They were
what
so.
happened?
I don't know what happened with that. You guys
I don't know.
killed each other.
I think he drank my drink.
See what happens? Don't drink his drink, Andy. Don't. Oh my God,
he's a great guy too.
Awesome.
No, I had a lot of fun with Weaves. Like I said, we were roommates, and yeah.
You had
you hate him at the end of the day.
Andy McDonald had, and I'm being serious, I think you had 2% body fat, which was like unheard of.
Andy, take your shirt off again.
Is that and now what's it up to now? About 3.5?
Oh yeah, we're pushing it now.
Was it healthy to have 2% body fat? I've never heard of that.
Dude, he was
Who said I had
ripped.
2%?
I did.
My sources.
You had 2% body fat. Take it and like it. You were so cut up. It was unbelievable. You look the exact same. You don't age.
Thanks, Chance.
You don't age. You don't age. Like you just don't. I hate you. You don't age. But Andy, no man. You were an awesome teammate, and you've been through a lot. And now we're still teammates, and we still skate. I'll be skating Wednesday night. We'll hang out.
You get way more ice time
Wednesday
now.
night.
I'm really good.
Oh, I'm gonna start coming out. By the way,
No, you have to be invited.
Yeah, when
you have to be invited.
You will be on the gray team.
yeah.
So this is how it works. All the alumni are on the blue team, and then we mix and match the gray team. So it's like the Harlem Globetrotters versus Generals. And we put all the rest of the guys on the other team, and we piss pump them for about an hour and a half.
Do you really?
It's the most miserable.
Not even close?
Oh my God!
What time is the early skate?
7:30.
You get up for those?
Oh hell yeah!
Sometimes, yeah.
How long had it been since you had put like full gear on?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I just started probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh really?
Yeah.
How's it coming along?
Could
you make
it's not like riding a bike.
Could you make an East Coast League team now?
Oh my God, Strick.
Is there an East Coast League?
Strick. He's fucking dominant.
He's unbelievable.
He plays
natural hockey player.
He takes the puck, he goes all the way in, and he comes back and he back checks and he steals the puck and he goes all the way back. He's Scott Niedermayer.
Yeah.
He's Scott Niedermayer.
Now, there is no age limit out there, so.
Okay.
We got some old bags out there. We beat up on.
Yeah.
It makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, you feel pretty good.
Let me ask you this.
We torture him.
Because you were such a great skater. I mean, you and Kariya kind of had a similar stride.
Like that long stride.
I mean, your pull-ups were very similar, your cutbacks.
Pull-ups like chin-ups or?
No.
Yeah, he acts like
cutbacks.
Just unbelievable. Oh, great skater. Were you ever, like, you never got drafted. Did you always believe that you were good enough to play in the NHL?
No, I didn't really. I was always smaller. I never was drafted to the OHL. Growing up as a kid in Ontario, it was the way that most people got to the NHL. You drafted the OHL and then to the NHL. So, I was thinking, if I could go play college and then play somewhere pro, maybe over in Europe, that'd be great. I had some success in college, and at that point, that was when it became like a reality that I might get a chance. I'm just fortunate, you get the right opportunity. And
how'd you land to the NHL? What's the story there? Like, who saw you? Who spotted you?
Yeah, so I was again undrafted. Anaheim was really the team. David McNabb, the assistant GM there, he was going to Colgate University, which is Hamilton, New York, upstate New York, in the middle of nowhere, and he just kept coming and watched me play. And there was other teams interested, but it was hard to ignore that special interest that was there in terms of taking the time to talk and meet. And I was unrestricted after my senior year, and it just fit. It seemed like a good fit to go to Anaheim.
What are you doing now? What do you want?
Right now,
sorry, is that a stupid question? Why are you laughing at me when I'm asking him a question? What are you doing at this moment right now?
I like his facial expression.
I'm asking him a legit question, and it's not a loaded question, baby, so we're good to go. What are you doing now, and what do you want to do in the future?
So I'm coaching now, just youth hockey. I'd like to get into more coaching. Right now, my kids are still fairly young, so I want to do something that's going to keep me in St. Louis and not traveling. I've already done that part with hockey in the NHL. So, but I see down the road, getting more into coaching and, more maybe even like a skills training type of deal, and getting back against more.
Would you want to do that for an NHL team? Be a skills coach?
Yeah, or college.
You may have to travel for that, though.
Right. Yeah. So again, I want to be around my kids while they're young, and
right.
Once they get, they might be tired of me now, but once they get older and they're more on their own program, go away, Dad, get your own life.
Yeah. What's it like coaching and dealing with all that, and just kind of having to? I mean, there's so much more than just going to practice and like throwing pucks out. And,
dealing with the kid,
now they're like miniature NHL
dads.
teams in terms of the programs and how everything is scheduled, and the interaction you have to have with the parents and everything. I mean, it's not just the kids that you have to impact. I mean, the parents are involved too.
It's a completely different animal. It's not just hockey. There's a whole different dynamic to it, and learning along the way. Unfortunately, it has become a kind of a one sport type of deal for kids, where they're no longer playing so many different sports the way it was for us growing up. So it's managing, the parents and the kids, and developing them, and trying to make sure they have fun along the way, and it's not too serious. So
how do you balance that though?
It's hard.
You coach to win though, don't you?
Well, it's that level of detail and seriousness, but also making sure that it's fun at practice for them. And generally it's not hard to see if you're on the right track, because the kids have smiles on their faces, and they enjoy coming to the rink. So I'm lucky. I'm working with good coaches, Alex Brooks and some other coaches that their impact and keeping it light, and also their knowledge with hockey. And these kids are getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You got a lot of guys, man. You got a lot of guys that could help you out. Brooks, you brought up, he was a captain, and my captain, and Albany played in Jersey with me as well. Just a freaking unbelievable dude. Like, just a smart guy. Awesome, a fucking awesome captain. Put up with all our bullshit. just unbelievable.
Just yours.
Just my bullshit. I was out of my fucking mind, and he's like, Cam, chill out. I'm like, okay, I got you, buddy. But
have you gotten tossed from a game yet?
Have I?
Yeah.
No.
Bench minor? Because all the other former Blues,
you got a bench minor.
all the other former Blues who coach youth hockey, they all get tossed at some point.
He seems like a mild mannered guy.
I can't believe
he gets fucking pissy as shit.
I've actually.
You
were super intense as a player.
Super intense.
A lot of the. Well, I shouldn't say. I mean, but he and I always had a great relationship.
Sure.
But I hear other people say, that he's just not very nice. I'm like, I don't see that from Andy Mack. I don't see that. But then I hear stories. I'm like, yeah, he gets intense.
Yeah, I get a bad rap. But I think actually, I'm earlier when I was starting to coach. I think I was a lot more dialed into it. Probably because I was closer to retiring.
Yeah.
And now I think I'm still serious at times, but. I think it's changed a little bit, and you're kind of realizing that it's youth hockey, and it really you're trying to impact these kids in a positive way. You want their experience. They want to be able to look back and say, I was on this team and it was so much fun, and they get excited when they come to the rink.
Yeah.
So you want to help them.
Well, because I'm considering joining his staff.
Oh, you want to be a skills coach?
And I haven't decided if that's going to happen. But now that I hear that you toned it down and you're not as serious, that's right down my alley.
Well, I'm serious with the assistant coaches, so I don't know if
Andy wants to be a skills coach. Is that what it is? Strick Daddy wants to be a skills coach.
I'm probably the world's best puck pusher that you're ever going to find.
Look, you broke your finger.
We have room for that.
You broke your finger and you stayed in the game one time in a summer league.
One time. Played the whole game. It was game 7.
Yeah, we won.
We did. And I shattered my finger.
Whenever I see him out coaching, he's always got his helmet done up tight, like safety.
Too tight.
Yeah.
It's too tight. You look goofy.
No, you don't.
He's got the ear guards on.
He's got a neck guard on too.
I can't get him off.
Why are you such a loser?
I can't get him off. But you know what? It's
the only coach with the mouth guard.
It's not a mouth guard, neck guard. What's wrong with you?
Hey, true
These
story.
kids are making fun of you.
No, true story. So I had
Safety
this
first.
because it's the same helmet that I would wear out when I play pickup or whatever.
Can't tell.
Yeah,
with these guys on Tuesday and Thursday mornings.
Yeah.
And so I would wear a half shield when I go out with these guys because I don't need to get be getting.
You wore a half shield coaching.
So hold on. So I didn't want to take it. I had one helmet. I didn't want to take it off, put it back on. So eventually I took it off and I show up to practice and the kids just lost their mind.
Oh,
they're
like, they're gonna chirp the shit out.
They're like, "Where is your hat? You need a half shield on."
They weren't chirping you with a half shield.
No, they wanted me. They wanted it to be on, so I had to go out.
Is there any other coach in St. Louis with a half shield?
No, but I mean, come on.
And a neck guard and a mouthpiece.
There's only one.
God.
There's only no mouthpiece and no neck guard. Don't be spreading bad rumors. But I went out and I made sure that I had a new one. Now it's a clip-on. That clips on and clips off.
Good for you.
I didn't know they had those.
I know, either did I, until I went and got one.
Andy,
it's amazing.
Thanks for coming in here. Thanks for
having me, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. Prepare for Wednesday. I'll be back Wednesday night for the alumni skate.
I was going to ask.
Probably gonna be me, you, and Peter Stasny.
You weren't there this morning, yeah?
No, I had a modeling shoot this morning.
We were a little off.
I had a modeling shoot for Normal Brand.
I've been modeling clothes here for the last 2 hours,
and it's not working. Yeah. So I had to take over. It is what it is. Mac Daddy, thanks for showing up,
boys.
Hey. That's Andy McDonald, former Blue, former Stanley Cup champion with the Anaheim Ducks, friend of mine, teammate of mine right now. And he's a great guy overall. He's a great guy.
One of my top, I would say if I had to rank the players I covered.
He's a great guy.
Top 5.
He's one of my favorites.
Top 5, thanks.
Top 5. Yeah.
That's a little extreme.
I don't deserve that.
No. Everyone else would say that. But you are top 5.
Thanks, Andy McDonald.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
That was Andy McDonald, Cam Jansen.
It
was pretty funny, huh?
He's funny, man.
He's looking at us like, what did I just get myself
What am I doing right now? Although this store is lovely and the clothes are great at the Normal Brand, but why am I with Cam and Andy right now? The other Andy, the non-cool Andy, I should say, Andy Strickland. But he had a great time, and of course we still skate together. But he went through some tough times, Strick Daddy. He went through some tough times with his concussions and stuff like that, and he opened up a little bit with us. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. He is a super guy. I can't wait to skate with him every single Wednesday, Friday, and Mondays, baby. Maybe we will invite you. I haven't decided yet.
I'm waiting for that, and I will make it out there for sure, and especially in the morning, maybe on Monday mornings.
$10 a pop.
But Andy Mac, man, I just reflect all the time when I have former players. Guys even played, in your era, his era, and I know the Blues, obviously have a lot of success right now. They won the Stanley Cup, and there's some great people inside the Blues dressing room right now. But some of my best memories covering the Blues in the National Hockey League was during some of the teams that you guys played on, man. You guys had some great teams, and it was a lot of fun. And
we didn't win many games, but damn, were we fun.
And it was good to have Andy McDonald come out here and join us live. And you can slowly but surely see him start to come out of his shell a little bit. Yep. He needed to get away from the game, as he said. Can you relate to that?
Not really. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't go through that. I left the game because the game left me. Mm-hmm. He left the game because of injury. Yeah. I just couldn't keep up anymore, and I had to do what I had to do. So it was completely different. Yeah. And it was time for him. For me, I would have played for another however long, but completely different. But Andy McDonald really is a super guy and a good friend of both of ours, and he's still living in St. Louis, doing great things in the community. So
he's
it's good.
doing great stuff in the community. He's coaching youth hockey. Yeah. A really good. Like, we don't realize how good we have it. All these former Blues players who have coached. And now we have another run of guys that are about to get into it or are currently into it, as in the case of Andy McDonald. So obviously, he's contributing to the local, hockey community. He's giving back to hockey, and just a great individual who's got great stories, who was a really, really good, talented NHL hockey player.
Check it out, Cam and Strick Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Check it out, Cam and Strick Podcast.